Hi everyone, I just wanted to share my personal experience with the Mirena IUD. I just want to put a quick disclaimer. If anyone is like queasy and doesn't want to hear about blood or anything like that, please click off. This video is not for you. I am not going to be showing any gory photos or anything like that. I just have pictures of the IUD posted in the background and that's it. So with that said, I'm just going to get into my own personal experience with the Mirena. So at this point, I've had the Mirena in for 9 months and I wish I had not gotten it at all. So I decided to get mine because I had really heavy periods and I noticed as I was getting older. First of all, I should say that I was always on and off iron pills because I was anemic because of the heavy bleeding, and the cramps were so bad. Sometimes I couldn't leave the house for days. It was just almost like being in labor, really bad cramps, very heavy periods. And then so I thought, as you get older, it would be less and less days and it would get lighter. And for me, it was the opposite. And I didn't know that this was a common thing for a lot of women. It actually gets longer in days and heavier. So my periods went from 7 days to 10 days to almost 14 days. So I knew I had to get something done about it. And I wasn't ready to do something drastic like a surgery or hysterectomy. So I decided to get the Mirena in. And I had to get the Mirena because the copper IUD wasn't compatible with me and just my history. And they told me it would probably make me actually bleed even more. So I was told to get the Mirena. So it started off 9 months ago, and I had to first go in to get a biopsy done. I had never done this before. I didn't know what to expect. The doctor told me it's not going to hurt. She just told me, well, you had kids before. It's not going to be a big deal for you. That was what she said to me. So I had taken one pill of 400 milligrams Advil, and an hour before my appointment. And I didn't know what to expect. And it was just so painful. I just couldn't believe it. And I talked to other women and they said that it wasn't such a bad experience for them. But for me, I had already regretted that first step. I just felt it was like so painful. I would have considered going through labor again if I had to choose getting another biopsy, and definitely would not want to be awake, and the Advil didn't do anything for me personally. So I told her that I wasn't happy with that experience, and then she explained to me that a month later, if the results came back from the biopsy, that I could get the Mirena inserted, and that was even easier. So in fact, when she was doing the biopsy, she said, oh, if we were putting the Mirena in, it would have been done by now. So I'm just thinking the worst is over. Hopefully we'll get the results back. Everything's good to go. And then, so less than a month later, it was all good. And I went to go get the Mirena in. I live in Canada and it was covered with my insurance, but if it wasn't covered, I think it was close to $400. The pharmacy I went to, it was $360 where I live in Alberta. But I did have mine covered. So I had to go pick it up and take it back to the women's clinic. So I had, again, taken one Advil of 400 dose, one pill of Advil, an hour before, and was kind of really excited to get it in because I had just had enough of the heavy bleeding for so many years. So I went to go and have it inserted that day. And it actually took longer than the biopsy and was more painful. So I was just kind of, really angry at that point because I felt like she had lied to me and said it wasn't going to be this thing. And, oh, you have kids, it's going to be fine. And like I said, everyone's experience is different. I did talk to someone else I knew and she said that she hardly felt anything. I felt like if I knew it was going to be like that, I would not have chosen to be awake, or I just would not have done it at all. I found it extremely painful. and very uncomfortable. And I braced myself for something that I had never done before, but I just found it to be way worse than what I was expecting. And I have an extremely high pain tolerance. So anyway, so finally it's over. It's over, and she just told me, you're going to have spotting. And she said, because of the length of your period, she goes, I'm going to be guessing by the time this thing kicks in, probably around the 3-month mark, you're only going to have a 4-day period. And then maybe close to a year, you're not going to have one at all. So for the first 2 months, I was spotting every day. And in that 2 months, I had 3 noticeable periods where it was like 5 days each that were very heavy, and then the other day spotting. So around the 2-month mark, I finally had a few days of no bleeding. I think it was only 3 days. And I thought, okay, maybe it's starting to kick in, I'm not going to be bleeding as much. Wrong. So I only had a 3-day break. And another thing was my breasts were so sore. I think at one point the soreness in the breasts went on for 6 weeks straight, and it was just driving me crazy because I couldn't sleep on my stomach, and it was just always, you're just always aware of it, like wearing certain clothes. And I thought, when am I going to get a break from like this part of it? So it went on for 6 weeks. Finally, I got a little bit of relief from it, but the bleeding continued. So again, at the 2-month mark, I had about a 3-day break. And then it was like the heavier spotting every day. And then maybe every 2 weeks, I would notice like a significant increase in bleeding, which I called like a real period. So almost the entire time for this 2-3 months, I had to wear a pad daily. And I had not yet had to wear a tampon. So that was one thing I noticed, was I didn't need a tampon anymore. I could just use a pad. And there was no more clotting because I had like really heavy periods before. I had so many blood clots. And I noticed with the Mirena, after the first month, you kind of notice your lining shedding, but after that, it was no clotting. But it was continuous bleeding. So I thought, okay, maybe, my body's different. Maybe I'm going to have to wait till the 4th month, 5th month. Again, same thing. It was continuous bleeding every day, spotting. I always had to have both pads with me, like liners, overnight pads, because I never knew what to expect. When I was in my 3rd and 4th month, sometimes on top of the regular spotting, I would get a period, but around the 3rd month, 4th month, it actually would come out gushing. And at this point, I thought, okay, I'm scared to actually go out in public because I don't know when this is going to happen. So I always have to be prepared. So I had to wear a pad daily, and then it just seemed to keep getting worse. And I kept thinking, well, now it's the 5th month. Now it's the 6th month. Maybe it's the 6th month that's going to be the magic mark for me. Around the 6th month, I started to really get concerned because I took a job out of town, and I had really never gotten a break from my period. Now I'm starting to wear tampons all the time. Around the 4th, 5th, 6th month, I had to start using tampons again and overnight pads. And the bleeding was getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And again, constant breast soreness, which was super annoying. The bleeding actually returned to the same as how it was before, but now it's daily. So I'm thinking, this thing is just not even working for me. Like, I was still hemorrhaging all the time. My body was just laughing at wearing like a super tampon and a pad. It was doing nothing for me. And I never got a break from bleeding. Once in a while, I would be lucky to get 5 days a month off. And then boom, after that 5 days was over, or maybe once or twice, maybe 7 days a month, it would start all over again and it would be heavy. And then around the 7th and 8th month, I noticed the clots started coming back. So now it's just like it almost felt like I didn't even have the Mirena in, but I'm heavily bleeding every day. And it's back to the point where you can't leave your house. Like, I couldn't leave my house because it was for me uncontrollable. No matter what I used, like I would literally have to be in a diaper if I wanted to go leave the house. So I called my doctor and I told her, I'm out of town at work and I literally can't even like go to work. Like I'm scared to bleed on the company truck. Like I had to go take a class that work sent me to, and I actually was bleeding on that chair through the pad, through the tampon, through my pants on the classroom chair. Thank God it was black and nobody noticed. And then it was just to the point, again, like I said, I couldn't go out anymore. It was so heavy with the Mirena. And I said, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to have it taken out? Because honestly, the experience of having it put in and the biopsy was so horrifying and so painful. I didn't even want to go and like, excuse me for saying this, I didn't even want to go spread my legs to have it taken out because I was so terrified of going through that again, of what it felt like for them to like put the wand up there and take it. It was just extremely painful for me. So I just thought I'm stuck with this thing until I am strong enough to decide like what to do and, what the options are. So my doctor told me we're not going to talk about taking it out yet. We're going to put you on progesterone, which is a hormone. And so now we're back at taking iron pills again because of the blood loss and progesterone, which is both of those for me, what I take. The iron I take is about $80 a month and the progesterone is $100 a month. So now between the constant the cost of keeping up with the Mirena is like a mortgage. I'm not kidding. Like the number of clothes I went through, the number of pants I had to throw out, the number of underwear I had to throw out, the number of bedding, the cleaning, the number that you're buying more pads and tampons than you've ever used in your life. It just actually became like an expense. Like I couldn't believe how much I was spending on like hygiene products and replacing clothes and just going shopping for pants and underwear constantly. It was just like, something's definitely not right. So my doctor, she told me, we're not going to talk about taking it out. We're going to put you on progesterone for 3 months and see how your body reacts to it. So again, now I'm paying like $180 to do that between the iron pills and the progesterone. And so far haven't noticed a difference. And I said, okay, well, if this doesn't work, am I just supposed to get it out because it's almost been a year? And she said, if the 3 months is up with the progesterone, which it is still not, I'm still taking it and it hasn't worked yet, but I'm still in her 3-month time frame to see if it works. And if it doesn't, she wanted to talk about an ablation or hysterectomy. So for me personally, I'm not ready to do a hysterectomy. I don't even want to deal with this anymore, but I have to, because you just can't have a normal functioning life when you're just hemorrhaging like this. So right now I don't know what the option is, but I am going to continue with the progesterone and hope that works. And so like I said, this is my 9-month update. And I just wanted to just let you know my personal experience, because I looked at a lot of other people's personal experiences on YouTube and before I got it, and a lot were pretty decent. So I'm just thinking, I don't know if mine's one of the worst ones or if anyone else is experiencing this, but I feel personally completely lied to from my family doctor and the women's clinic, the doctor that inserted it, about the Mirena experience. So like I said, I wish I would have never have gotten it. I didn't get it for birth control. I strictly just got it to curb the heavy periods, which has now made a 2-week period into a 3.5-week period and sometimes a 4-week period, which is even heavier. So that was my experience with the Mirena. And if the progesterone does work or if it doesn't, I will do another 1-year update and see where we are there. But I just wanted to share that with anyone who's just curious and just give you some more information about that. If you do have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I will look at them intermittently and answer what I can. I did notice some weight gain, but it started to go away after the 6th, 7th, 8th month. It started to go back to normal, but I did notice some weight gain around about the 4th month and 5th and 6th, that it was kind of like really hard to get off, like maybe water retention. But it did start to get back to normal around the end here, around month 8 or 9. I noticed I started feeling like I had my old body back. So it did cause a bit of weight gain in the beginning again. So yeah, if you have any questions about it, post them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer you, and also update with my 1-year Mirena experience. And like I said, I would not get this thing again, but you do what's best for you, like we all are. And I just pray your experience, if you do get it, is way better than mine. Okay, thank you so much. Love you all. Bye.